My guest today is a baseball legend. He spent his entire 14-year career with the New York Yankees. He's a six-time All-Star, an AL MVP, nine-time Gold Glove winner, three-time Silver Slugger winner, an AL batting champ. Currently, he's the bench coach for the Toronto Blue Jays. It is my absolute honor to welcome to Jake's Takes the legend himself, Coach Don Mattingly. What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Good, Jake. How are you? That's great, great intro. Thank you.
Thank you, man. That means a lot to me, and I wanted to thank you for being so nice at the ballpark when you came over to chat with me. Meant a lot, so I appreciate that.
No problem.
And of course, I'm really honored to have you on my show, so let's get it going. I'm excited to speak with a baseball legend like you.
All right.
Anyway, how's your experience been with the Blue Jays so far compared to like the other teams? You were just with Miami, so like what's the difference? Like you liking Toronto?
I'm loving it. Toronto's a great place, and the different thing with like Miami and Toronto, I say Toronto, but I almost like to say like should say like the Canadian Blue Jays because like it's like you represent the whole country, not just the city or that area. And it's been great. The organization, I feel like, is a tremendous organization. It's first class. I feel like they've treated me great. The fans have treated me great. I've really enjoyed it.
100%. I feel like in that area, it's second to none because there's only two teams in like the four major sports that have that leeway. Like they're representing a country. That's the Blue Jays and the Raptors. Come on,
Right.
the Toronto City of Toronto's got to add an NFL team. No,
Yeah, why not? Right?
it would be
I love
amazing for the
football.
country.
Yeah,
Everyone would
I
love
love
it.
football. That would be great.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Anyway, you enjoying your relationship with manager Schneider? This I hope he recognizes though that he's got like a legend on his side and he uses you like with the wit like he asks you for some advice and everything, right?
No, John's great, and I have enjoyed it. And I knew when I came here, John and I was able to talk before I accepted it. Make sure he was comfortable with me being there. I look at, I want to be humble from my position, and I want to be loyal to him, help him in any way I can in the bench coach role, and it's been great. I think John's a good decision maker. I think he's passionate about the Blue Jays and wants to win. It's been a good relationship. Hopefully, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully, I've been good for him.
How important is it like to be close with your manager? Do you feel it's like a really important relationship?
I think it's important to be close with all your staff, and John does a great job of, and actually the Blue Jays organization of making everybody feel a part of it. It feels collaborative to a point. I think you only always want it to a point. The manager at some point has to make decisions, but he likes, I think, input and he asks for input from others. But then he's a guy that to me is willing to make that decision. And because at the end of the day, a lot of the decisions fall on his head. We may all give him an opinion, what we think, but he has to make that decision because it's his club, and he ultimately is the one that has to answer the questions. And like if we win or we lose, he's the one that has to answer that. And it's on him. So, someone has to make that decision. And he's very strong with that.
100%. I don't want to anyway, I want to ask you about Vladdy for a minute. I know everyone's talking about how his power and everything's been going down lately. This year he's only got 20 homers, his OPS is 782. But I think a part of his game that people don't give him enough credit for is his defense. As a first baseman, being a good defense, like a good defensive first baseman, that is super important. And he's up there with the best of them. Talking and like, how do you feel about this, especially because back in your day you were maybe the best ever as a defensive first baseman. So how amazing is Vladdy at being a defensive first baseman?
No, Vladdy's very good and he's capable, and I think he could be even better. Um, I think sometimes, um, people don't give him enough credit for how athletic he is and how he moves, and he plays fearless. He's not afraid to make throws. He's not afraid to take chances over there. So I think he's very good. But like anything else, you always want him to kind of continue to get better. I think sometimes his footwork could be better on throws and things like that. But it's something I think that will get better over time.
Do you tell him this? Do you give him your input and everything?
Yeah, well, Louis Rivera is the infield coach. So, but Louis and I, one thing with first base, I was given some freedom during spring training, especially that we were able to work together on different occasions with not only Vladdy but all the other first basemen within the organization too that were in Major League camp. So a lot more there. Louis is the guy, during the season, but him and I will talk about certain things and we'll talk about certain plays and things that he could possibly do different, and just giving opinions on that.
By the way, Kevin Biggio, we see him play first base sometimes, like occasionally. Does he like work out and like train as a first baseman? Like, do you and Louis like teach him how to play first base, or is it just like kind of like off the cuff?
Well, he does work over there for sure, and Cav's in a spot that he plays multiple positions. So you'll see him in right field, you see him at second base, first base, play some third. He played third today. So Cav has to do a little bit of work everywhere to try to stay sharp. And like if we think that he may play first, like the days that Brandon Belt plays first and Vladdy is DH, and you don't really want to lose your DH. So those are days that will make sure Bish will either take some ground balls every once in a while just to stay sharp where he's comfortable.
100%. It's actually so clutch that he does that. It's a very great skill. You know what I'm saying? It brings a lot of value to a team.
He does, and Cav is a valuable guy. He's been a great, like for me, I've really enjoyed being around Cav. He's always prepared, very smart player, very well prepared. And to me, he's getting better. Like his swing is getting better. Um, I really enjoy being around Cav.
His like eye for the ball is crazy. He knows before it's coming. It's actually amazing. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, he's got a good eye in the strike zone for sure.
Anyway, I want to talk to you about Bo Bichette for a minute. Is he the best shortstop in baseball? Because yeah, he's having another exceptional season, which like he's now like leading the AL in hits. He's been out for 16 games. This is his third consecutive year doing this. Plus, defensively, he's made huge strides this year. What's your assessment of Bo Bichette?
Yeah, he's another young player that is, I don't know if you would say he is the best shortstop in baseball, but you'd have to put him up there with one of the best when you put the whole package together. Like you said, offensively, he's a guy that's really talented and special at the plate. Uh, could hit for power, hits for average. Um, Defensively, I think I haven't been around him that much just this year, but listening to our guys felt like he's made big strides through the course of the season. So, again, I think he's young. You want him to continue to get better, but he's definitely making strides to being a better defensive player all the time.
He's also like a big boy, you know what I'm saying? And I noticed that when he gets onto that two strike approach, he ditches the leg kick and he does a toe tap. Does that only come because of his size that he's able to do this? Because if not, why wouldn't all players do this?
No, I think he's a guy that understands, how to hit with two strikes, and I think he has that approach. Guys all have some sort of approach. Um, not as many people hit with a two-strike approach nowadays. The strikeouts have become, um, in the past, you would not want to strike out at all and try to keep them really low. I think in today's game or the analytics, they don't dock you or make it like as valuable because they think an out is an out. So it's a little different, but he's one of the guys with a good two strike approach, and it ends up helping him in a lot of circumstances.
For sure. Anyway, despite the struggles this year of Alek Manoah, the Jays pitching staff has been remarkable. Kikuchi has been lights out since the All-Star break. Ryu's looked good since he came back. But I want to talk to you about Kevin Gausman. He's been terrific all year. But it just kills me to see that every time he steps on that mound, we forget how to hit. Like he pitches into the seventh inning, only gives up a run or two, yet the offense just doesn't do anything for some reason when he's on the mound. What is it? Like, do you have any idea what happens when he's on the mound? How come some pitchers just don't get any run support?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like every year there is guys or a guy on every staff that seems to not get runs, and for whatever reason. Now, also he is a number one. He's an ace, so he's usually pitching against team's best. But I think it's kind of been that way. I feel like on all the teams I played for and managed, there's like one guy that doesn't seem to get runs, and there's also a guy that gets runs. Like he may have a 4 or 5 ERA, but his record's really good because the team seems to score for that guy. I don't know what it is, and I wish I could explain it, but I can't.
Does Kevin or anybody else you've seen have this problem ever talk about it? Say like, "Come on, boys, what the heck? Get me some runs. I want to win."
Uh, I never heard anybody really say it like that. I think you do hear frustration at times from those guys, um, and I think it's only human nature that there's times they get frustrated. But they also know that they don't control that side, and they do what they can control. They take care of that part of it, and if they don't get runs, it's not something they can do anything about other than just keep doing their job.
Yeah, for sure. But if I was in that position, I would get so mad, so upset.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and maybe they do, but they wouldn't. You don't want to say that publicly, so maybe they are frustrated in the background. You don't know that, but again, I think the good thing about one of the better things about analytics now is that you're not judging pitchers by their records per se. You're looking at all the peripheral numbers, and everyone knows. I think Kevin Gausman is one of the premier pitchers in baseball, and very very valued within the industry, within our club. So that's the good thing nowadays is that they understand that even though he hasn't gotten support, he's one of the best pitchers in the game.
you know who else is one of the best pitchers in the game? Shohei Ohtani. And I just can't get over how he's such a great pitcher. And yeah, he just had this arm surgery, which is this arm injury. Sorry, my bad. Which is terrible. But how in the world it's spectacular to see his hitting skills. Last year he was amazing hitting. Don't get me wrong, but this year he's hitting for average as well. Have you seen anything like Shohei before? And do you think that AL MVP has his name written all over it?
Well, I definitely think it has his name written all over it. I don't know how you become more valuable than this guy, and I have not seen anything like it. I've seen some really good pitchers and some really good players, but not anyone that is like both. And so I haven't seen anything like it. It's spectacular. It shows how great of an athlete he is. Um, and I don't know how you get more valuable than this guy.
It's like you said, you said you followed football, right?
Yes.
So he's kind of like Taysom Hill, just like MVP caliber.
Well, it's like you'd say he was like one of the like a Patrick Mahomes and also one of the best defensive players. Right. So he's be like playing both sides of the ball the whole game and
Great.
being like all pro on both sides. So it's pretty amazing what he's doing.
What team do you follow in football?
I follow all kinds of teams. I grew up a Miami Dolphins fan from Evansville, Indiana, because of Bob Greasy. He's from my hometown there. And my brother actually was a football player. He actually played in Canada, played with the Rough Riders a while back. He
Wow.
was a backup quarterback for a couple of years behind Ron Lancaster in Saskatchewan. I don't know if you know that name, but I'm sure a lot of your followers may. But yeah, so the the Dolphins were one of my favorites, and then I love following great players. Like I love following the Colts when Peyton Manning was there. And then I followed Peyton Manning to Denver and like watching those guys. I love the New England and Bill Belichick and greatness. You watch how hard that is to be good that long, and Tom Brady and that whole organization, right? So I love watching things like that.
Okay, you're a fan of teams respect. I respect that. Anyway, last question. That good?
Sure.
So the Yankees are having a really tough season. They're sitting last in the AL East. They just had a 9-game losing streak. It's not looking pretty. As a Yankees legend, I know you're really like focused on the Jays and everything, like clearly, but do you still have, like a soft spot in your heart for the Yankees, like checking up on New York and being like, dang, again?
No, not really. Not like that. I follow, obviously. That was my, I always look at New York, kind of play your whole career, a place like that, drafted by them, play your whole career there, coach there. You do feel like that's kind of your original home, right? As a baseball player. But when you're in the same division, I think you get yourself ready and you do the best job you possibly can for your team, right? And your organization, your loyalty lies there at that time. Um, but I do kind of have a better understanding probably of kind of what's going on. It's a tough place to play when you're not playing winning in New York. I think you see it on both sides with the Mets and the Yankees. Um, it's not a great place to play when you're losing. And it's a great place to play when you're winning, but not when you're losing.
Yeah, I was actually listening to the radio today, and they were saying how right now, obviously, the Jays had a tough loss today and everything, but looking forward, we're playing, I think, 18 times against a team with the last in their division. And they started naming teams. They're like, we're playing Oakland, then we're playing Kansas City, right? Then we're going out and playing Colorado. And they're like, and then we're going out and playing the New York Yankees. I was like, holy cow. Are we really saying this right now? How is that possible? It's quite crazy, no?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is crazy when you kind of put them in that category. You're so used to them being good every year. But one thing I will say about when you're playing those kind of teams, are all dangerous. And the Yankees are probably one of the most dangerous because they have talent. But like even these next few days for us, I don't know how your podcast airs, but next 3 days the Washington Nationals. Now they may be in last place in that division or close to it, but they're a really good young team and have been playing better and better as the season goes on. And those teams are dangerous. Like you play a team like that, you go to Colorado. Anytime you go to Colorado, it's dangerous because of playing in that environment. Your bullpen usually takes a beating there all the time. They've always got good offensive players, it seems like. So this time of year, it's hard to win games. And I think no matter who you're playing, that's where you got to really try to step on the gas. And at this point, you're trying to win every game. You don't feel like you can lose any. And, when you lose a game, it hurts right now at this time of year.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, Coach Mattingly, thank you so much for coming on my show today and talking some baseball. Did you enjoy your time?
I have, Jake. Thank you. I appreciate being on.
Thank you, Coach.